right, guys. Appreciate you joining. So we're live. Let's jump into this, guys. I kind of briefly, went through the charts a little bit. Those of you guys in the room, that you guys want to see what my thoughts are early, you can come in here. This is where I put a lot of them. I put the daily insight on there, and you can scroll down and kind of see my thoughts there. So let's get into the market and kind of where my thoughts are with that. So let's start out with the SPX. These are kind of some pivotal marks that I put in here that we're watching. You can see I'm on the 1 hour chart here. At the end of the day, guys, we're just ranging from top to bottom, right? I mean, it's literally since this area we've just been doing nothing but ranging. Now, as you guys know, I love to trade the gap. I love to kind of watch that read of it's losing some strength. And so what kind of is continuing to catch my eye is we sort of have like a kind of a rounded sort of top kind of forming, right? So if you take this peak and then you take the higher peak and you got the middle peak here, you can see here this peak was kind of equal to this side, right? And you can see on this side we're not really able to break this one here. So in order to break out of that kind of rounded shape, right, which typically if you have that rounded shape, it's going to cause it to do this, and then we're going to collapse, right? So you'll reclaim this area here. In order to not have that happen, I would need to see this side, right? Because if you take the center peak right here and you go kind of how far that is out, right? Then you kind of have the center peak here, right? So somewhere in this range, we need to see a break up north. Now, doesn't mean that we're still not rounding. It could easily be, and that's why we threw this arrow up here, right? We could come up and retest this area for a double touch and then basically break all the way back down to here and then begin again kind of forming that other side, right? It still could be the same thing. So, kind of the range that I've been watching on this SPX is, if we flip this as a higher high and we hold the support, it's going to be like insane bullish because there's just not a lot holding it back, right? You can see I don't even have it marked up there yet. So if we can't flip that and we do come up and touch it, anything in this area is just such an amazing area to take a put if you're trading options. Also to take shorts on crypto, because likely if the stocks do a hard rejection like this, crypto is going to follow. But right now, we're just ranging, guys. I mean, the RSI on the 1 hours in the middle, it's still green. You look out here, if you zoom out, we still have not filled this gap, right? Now, it doesn't mean it has to fill right now, right? We could still see a pump up and then have it come down like that. And keep in mind when you're trading this, if you take like little peaks like that and you push it over to those ones, or the lows like that, it doesn't mean we're going to have to come down to this red line. The funny thing is, although it seems strange, right? Even if we fall down all the way to here, it feels super bearish, but it's overall long-term still bullish if we find support and go up, because we still created a higher low. And that's almost certain to squeeze it for a higher high. So if I'm taking a put, I'm likely to close it here. If we break this and we find resistance, then I'll enter again, and then I'll close it here, right, is what I'm looking at for the SPX. So that's kind of the range that I put out this morning for you guys. And then you look at the SPY, it's doing the same exact thing. The only reason why I'm going to talk on this one is this one I'm kind of watching more some trend line marks here. I trade the SPY a little bit more than the SPX anyways. So you can see pre-market's up. We had a nice little drop here from yesterday from 413 all the way to 410 on the close. Pre-market's up. Typically pre-market being up is not bullish. It's actually more bearish in my mind, because the markets love to pre-market the wrong direction. It's just more times than not. Not always, but more times than not. But you can see a little more clear here, right? You kind of got that rounding formation. This side right here is doing almost the same thing as here. Now, we could see as high as this one, right? Because it hasn't quite hit that peak, right? So we could push up north as high as 415 like this. If we hit anywhere in this zone, it's just such an amazing put. Like, you can make so much money, guys. I'm still staying put. I'm not likely to take much calls. The only thing that would make me take a call is if we fall down to like this 409 range and I see a bullish pattern or candle pattern, double bottom, something just showing some significant push is about to come. Because and then set your tight stop losses, right? Because again, you're playing this range, which is such a small reward compared to the risk, right? If we break this line here, we're almost certain to come all the way down to 403. Like, just it's almost certain. So just keep an eye on that range. As far as my puts go, if market opens can explode a little bit more north into that 412 range, I'm for sure looking to take that put. But if we fall all the way down to 409 or so after market open, then I'm looking to potentially take that call. Because we scalp in our room, we're in most of our trades that, they last anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. They're not very long. Like, we get in, we get out, we make our money, and we just sit back and wait for the next opportunity. So that is the SPY. Let's talk about the Dixie. Dixie's still doing the same thing that we've been talking about since, I think, Thursday or Friday. It's continuing to follow that rounded pattern, guys. Just as anticipated, right? And it all started by following this downtrend line. We had a break. I'll zoom in a little bit here. So we had the break up. We retested it. Since then, we've been creating higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Right, and we're in a higher high right now. So what is likely to happen because of how quickly this is moving, I'm not, unless news supports it, right? Our rounded bottom theory is not really so rounded with this. So typically a pullback would be a healthy pullback, right? To pull back to somewhere around in this area here. And then push basically back up like that. And then that would be more kind of convincing of that rounded bottom. Doesn't mean we can't just go up, because here's the thing, guys. If we break this previous level here on these sides, then we're going to see a considerable push up on that side. Also, keep in mind, we are above the 200 now since back here on the 100 EMA, or on the 1 hour 200 EMA. And so for me, even if it came down this way and retested that 1 hour and then pushed up, right, that would still help kind of more justify this rounded bottom. So, my point on that is if you see it kind of pull back, it's just like anything else in the market. It's a healthy pullback, right? So I do believe that if we start to see some crazy volume come in on the Dixie, which you can see it's still going up as we talk, then we're going to see a pretty drastic level. Now here's where it gets interesting, guys. This is where the big moves happen. If the Dixie breaks this level and starts gaining some serious volume, what you're going to see is, like, Bitcoin has been holding like 26.2 or so. If it pushes it down to 26.2 and this continues to climb, it will be enough to likely push Bitcoin past its heavy support, and that'll push us down pretty fast to the 25K range. Now, on the bullish side, if we come up here and we bump our head, right, on this previous high like this, or even if we bump our head right here, right, which is starting to find some resistance, and we start to pull back on the Dixie for a full pullback, right, to round it somewhere in this range, then that's going to recover the markets north a little bit, and give it some padded room, before it breaks those critical levels. So, but that's just kind of what to watch for the Dixie. Now, if you're in a short, you're in a put throughout the next few days, probably the rest of this week, really. Even into next week, if it comes up near this red line anywhere, you may want to close it and just kind of sit tight for a minute, right? Because what is likely going to happen, this red line, I think, look at the 1 hour. This is the one that goes back pretty far. Let's go to the 4 hour. It's kind of where I got this line, right? if you know, those that are wondering how I got it, looks like it moved just a little bit. That's why I always like to double check my lines. There you go. We'll line that back up. So, you know, it's always interesting to me when you have resistance, you know, resistance, and then this just happens to line up with that perfectly, right? For a big fall. That always piques my interest enough to draw it, right? So it's almost certain that if this were to pump up, it's going to have a rejection, you know, off of this, right? Which is going to push the markets north. So just be careful if you're in shorts somewhere around this range. Now, if we break this trend line here and it pushes a higher high here, then that Dixie's going to go just nuts. Because if you look at, we'll go to like the 6 hour here, right? You can see here, what do we have forming? You kind of have your triple bottom, right, coming through. And then we had a pump up, we had a retest, and now it's pushing north. So this could be a pretty substantial push, right? Pushing us back up to that 105. So, which is probably what's going to cause the markets to pull back that we've been waiting for some time. So, tech stocks, I'm not going to really go on. Guys, in the community, if you guys are in the room trading with me, I'm happy to look at any stock you want. Just come on into our room. You can even do it for free. Just sign up at botjock.com. But, you know, we'll take a look at it. We were playing with some patterns. I was anticipating potential double bottom here. Didn't play out right, and which is good because I know some people were in puts. So, but it, you know, it's always fun to draw anticipation of patterns. But sometimes we'll draw them like super, super early, just to see. So, but you can see we got Amazon's up on pre-market. Apple's actually down on pre-market. Alex, if you're watching, I'm sure you're happy about that. And then you got Google is about the same, slightly up, and Microsoft slightly the same, slightly down. So it's kind of a mixture right now going on in the tech side of it. Bitcoin, you know, what we're looking at here on the 1 hour, this is our gap fill indicator. There is a gap that is starting to form here on a shorter time frame, meaning 1 hour, not, you know, daily or 6 hour. It's kind of an interesting one because if you zoom out and you zoom back, the overall gap is here, but it's beginning to have a smaller gap here, right? So what I warned the room at is if you look at here, we've created a lower low, right, than we did on this side pre this fall here, right? We actually wicked down to, I think it's down to this level, briefly, the 25.8, and then we found some crazy support. Now 25.2 has been my call for some time for an area that we really need to retest. Now be careful though, because if we see a fall today, let's say, right, and it can hold this range somewhere in here around that 26.2, if you go into a higher time frame like a 6 hour, right, you're basically forming a potential double bottom like this, right? And this is a bullish wick right here. So if you get the double bottom off of the bullish wick, then that's gonna just be an explosive candle. So if it breaks these ranges, so just be really careful. This area is gonna be kind of what we call in the room like a landmine area. You know, so be careful of that. So. And it's going to be heavily dependent on what the stocks do, but you can see it's trying to find some support here. So as far as low, you know, today I can for sure see us dropping as low as, you know, 26.2 again to retest this zone. As far as the high, you know, if you go to the 6 hour, you can see our point of control here. This is around 27.5. So, you know, we could easily come up. One of the things that we teach in the room, you guys know, is, you know, when you read a pattern too soon, you see this as, okay, we have a potential double bottom. And you see a lot of people do draw these on their charts like, oh, we're going to the moon. What people forget is if you have your point of control here, what was once a potential double bottom can easily turn as a double top. And then we do that, right? So you just got to be really careful because you do have that POC right there. Plus, you also got to look, you know, I mean, look at the overall data. On the 6 hour, we're below the 200 EMA. If you go to the 1 hour, we're below the 200 EMA. Like everything is still it's still showing bearish. Can we flip it? Sure, but we haven't yet. Looking at the gap fills, we have a little area here that we could call gap fill needed, but definitely have some area up here. Yeah. Yep, but yeah, that's kind of like I said for Bitcoin. I mean, overall, still a little bit bearish-ish, but it has a super strong potential bullish pattern forming. So just be careful. Play your margin. Don't overextend. There's really nothing certain right now, so play your range. If you're trading on BitGet like we do, you can trade long and short. So hopefully you're capitalizing on both. So Ethereum is pretty much going to follow Bitcoin, guys. Ethereum's the same as Bitcoin. It was forming this rising wedge, which we did get a breakout. So that played out perfectly from the 1820 down to here. Like we talked about, the target breakout typically is going to be somewhere like that, right? So somewhere in here, 1750, 1760, something like that. And then it's kind of pattern complete. But we also are in a heavy support zone, as you see from our zone tracker. So it's going to be interesting. But again, same things apply. We have the 200, we're below that. I'm sure we are on others. I'm sure if I went to the 6 hour, right, you can see we're still potentially forming that double bottom. Like ETH is just following Bitcoin. So for those of you trading ETH, right, just if you're trading ETH, you're trading any really alts, I mean, you always should be looking at Bitcoin, because I don't care what alt it is, unless there's news that impacts it. If Bitcoin drops, a significant volume, the altcoin's going down. It's going down. Bitcoin controls all. So if you're not monitoring Bitcoin while you're trading alts, then you're not trading very smart. Let's take a look at the ATAs. My plan, I mean, we didn't really move much, so I don't think my plan is going to change much, but let's take a look. So we're going to go to ETH. Now, we do have some news Friday that's going to be pretty impactful when Powell opens his mouth, and we all know how that goes. So let's take a look at what we can do. So ETH 9 days, $125. I think I made about 25 last night because I think we were around 100. So shorts are doing good. Longs I'm not going to touch on too long because obviously we know we're not out of the long because we haven't pumped enough to get it. But we're not too bad. It's not really that deep. I mean, $60 is we can get that easily within a couple candles if we get the right volume, right? So either A, we're going to go up and I'm going to get out, or B, we're going to fall down to that 1500, 1600 range, and I'll add my 30 DCA, right? And then that'll pull this entry down considerably. So I'm not going to make any adjustments to ETH. That was a short one. Let's go to LTC. I think LTC was in a short. Yeah, it's probably likely still stuck in a short because it's going up. But we do have the long going, guys. Like most of you guys know, when I was shorting it, I did activate the long. I'm glad I did because in 2 days I made $100. This helps, kind of earn while another direction is stuck. If you're not trading on BitGet futures for our ATAs, you really should be, because it's the only one that'll allow you to do long and shorts at the same time. So let's take a look at the short. So we did get our DCA too, guys. Remember we set that yesterday, and it wasn't a bad area so far because we've just been ranging. Moved our entry up pretty well. We went from $81 up to about $87. This was part of my plan. If you all remember yesterday, I wanted to put a second DCA that was up in an area that would move my entry above this red line. To me, we're likely to fall down here and retest this area here in this red line before we go back up. So now if we do go back up, I always, you guys that trade in the room, you guys know I always plan out my and or ifs, right? So we know here's resistance, it's finding resistance, right? This is what I'm playing that I'm anticipating will have some kind of pullback from this resistance level, which has acted as resistance so many times. Let me mute this one. So you can see all these resistance levels within here, a lot of resistance back here, a lot of resistance back here, right where it is. So that's kind of what I'm playing. On the flip side is, let's say it breaks that resistance. There's a lot of areas up here or as high as up here. If I do see it break that resistance, I will look to do a DCA 3 somewhere in this zone, and then I'll be done with it. So that's kind of my plan with LTC. I'm not really going to touch the settings. We can just double check it. If you guys weren't doing the same one, this is what I had, 14%. Mine's already executed, so if you can't really follow the settings now if you haven't already. You'd have to manually do your DCA, which isn't a bad range to do it, and then set an existing trade. So just remember, when you set existing trades, you take all your DCAs off if you don't want to DCA anymore, and then you still close out your candle, but just make sure you swap this from closeout trade or over to existing trades. So let's look at the longs one more time. I kind of went quickly on that, but it did really well, guys. Look at the long. We started it here on this yellow candle, and then you can see each blue is a buy, each teal in here is a DCA. It needed some DCAs back here. Most of them can get out in one DCA. If you're new to the channel, guys, the settings are super simple to do. You literally get the indicator that goes on your trading view when you sign up for our automated tradings. And all you have to understand is these sections. Most of them are default, but you understand these sections right here, and we have full training on that too. So, but overall, LTC is doing fine. It's a little bit stuck in that short, but it doesn't surprise me, right? And so at least we're still earning on these longs. I'm going to continue to let the long go because we're only DCAing one time, so we have plenty of room to combat that if we do get a fall, right? Like we've been talking about. And I don't think we're not anywhere near the bottom of LTC, right? So we're actually in the upper end of it. So we could come all the way down to $77 if the market does complete its gap fill there. So. All right, that's our LTC. What do we got? Matic long and then Sol. So let's take a look at our Matic long. See if that ever got out. For those of you guys new, I literally don't look at these until I do these calls, so it's all new to me. So we did not get out yet of our Matic. We did do a DCA 1. We have a DCA 2. If I would have not been as passive on it, then we would have likely got out, because if I DCA'd here, it would have got out on this pump here. So that's just me, being passive on it. I don't mind being a little passive when it comes to DCAs on altcoins sometimes, because if you're too aggressive, it may work 8, 9, 10 times out of 10, but that 10th time is going to get you, and it's going to hurt. So I'm already running ETH. I have my long stuck in ETH that I'm playing with. I have my LTC that I'm stuck in the short. So that's kind of good, because that sounds weird, but it's good because I'm balancing my margin. So somebody in the room we were talking to, I was explaining that on margin. When you're running these ATAs, you really want to make sure you go to our training or Google it, I don't care, and understand what margin is and how it impacts. Margin is going to be when you're trading Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, BitGet, and you trade long and short. You're enabling the ATAs to look for trades both directions, which balances that margin. So that's why you'll find, unless we're way high in the range or way low in the range, I'm always going to run pretty close to equal. I may lopside it depending where we are in the range, but I'll run equal, longs to shorts. So you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 longs, and I have 1, 2, 3 shorts. I do that purposely because we're at 26K on Bitcoin, and we could see as high as 31, right? Which would see an influx in the markets. And so, that's kind of how I balance that. Now, if you're stuck in a long, being stuck in a 2 DCA short is okay, because if it goes up, guess what? I win. I make money. And then I figure out the short, right? I add a dollar cost average to that to balance that. If it goes down, I win, right? I just add money to that DCA. I don't add money. I enable another DCA. The levels that these ATAs trade compared to what your account balance is at a really low level, so it has a lot of room to. The default is 3 DCAs, so So if you go to that third DCA, it's not like you're way out of range trying to add money, right? So that's why we do these calculated dollar cost averages after the first one. So which you guys can just even follow me as I'm doing them. So, but I'm not gonna touch Matic. I'm still fine with this DCA range. I don't know if it'll hit, but if it does hit, it's gonna move this entry low enough to where I'm cool. Like it'd be somewhere in here. So I'm not gonna touch it. We'll let that one just play out. Kind of wish I stopped it back when I did, but I'm okay. Matic is funny because watch, one of these days, man, in that long, I'm gonna wake up and it's just gonna be like a, massive candle north. So let's take a look at Sol. Our shorts are doing good. I considered stopping this yesterday, you guys remember, but we have 5 days, $38. We're still doing good. Not even in a trade right now. It's just kind of hanging out. You can see these are all trades. So this was all Tuesday right here. So yesterday was that. It did do a short here, got caught. DCA'd, got out in profit, took another short, right? That's kind of where it's at. My long is still stuck. You can see this was my DCA 2 range. I think, yeah, I have that activated. That's the one we chose. Still hasn't hit that DCA 2, so again, I'm just going to let that one play out as well. So, yeah, I'm not going to touch. Like I said, I don't see me making much modifications today. Because we've just been ranging, so there's really nothing drastic going on that needs my attention, or that I need to be aggressive on trying to fight to get out. The beauty of running an ATA is it's got all the time in the world, right? So you just let it manage it based on the settings that you set. So, but you can see the longs made $37 in 5 days, shorts made $38 in 5 days. So, I mean, it's still doing pretty good on that. We'll take it. So we got about 3 minutes left, guys. I'm going to cut it off here. If you guys are trading with us on the trading floor, I'll put out that room info. For those who don't know, we trade on Google Meet here. You guys are welcome to join. Just got to sign up at botjok.com, botjok.com. When you sign up, your screen will look like that, so that you know it's us. And you guys can check us out. You guys can even sign up for free just to take a look at what we offer. I'm not going to go into depth of it because we only got about 2 minutes left. So, but I appreciate you guys' time. Give me about 15-20 minutes, and I'll put that out to the room as far as where we're going to trade today. So super excited. We had a great day yesterday. It was kind of boring in the beginning, but we still ended up very profitable, even with the sideway ranging, which is what's so great about how we scalp. So, but I appreciate you guys' time, and I will talk to you in the room a little bit later.